Rwanda is a signatory of the 1994 Cairo International Conference on Population Development Agenda. Rwanda had committed to address issues of sexual reproductive health and rights. Since then, Rwanda has developed and implemented several health policies and strategies toward universal reproductive health.
We must promote the self-esteem of women while continuously engaging the men.
Over the past 2 decades, Rwanda has made tremendous progress in implementing innovative, high-impact health programs to improve health of women and children. This was due to strong commitment from the country's leadership, from the highest level of government down to the community level, political stability and security in the region coupled with innovative and effective interventions. The United Nations Population Fund, together with the Ministry of Health and other stakeholders, organized several activities to commemorate achievements of the ICPD Program of Action over the past 25 years, and these included the Advocacy Meeting on Family Planning, the celebration of the World Population Day, and the National Youth Traveling Caravan, with the objective to listen to the voices of the Rwandan population, especially young people, to mark the achievements made and unfinished businesses in the ICPD agenda. From 12 to 14th November 2019, the Nairobi Summit on ICPD25, a higher-level conference to mobilize the political will and the financial commitment to finally and fully implement the ICPD Program of Action, was held in Nairobi, Kenya.
I wish to extend my congratulations to UNFPA and the government of Kenya for successfully organizing this ICPD25 summit.
Rwanda renewed its commitment to transform the world by ending all maternal death and all unmet need for family planning, gender-based violence, and the harmful practices against women and girls by 2030. The government of Rwanda commits to support universal access to sexual, reproductive, maternal, newborn, child, and adolescent health through the following actions. The Ministry of Health, together with the stakeholders on ICPD Program of Action, worked together to develop the action plan for the commitment made by Rwanda. 2022 will mark the 3rd anniversary of the Nairobi Summit on ICPD25. It is very important for the stakeholders who are part of the implementation of the action plan for the commitment to come together and reflect on their roles and responsibilities and accountability in the process. This should not leave young people behind. Young people account for the majority of the population of Rwanda. It is very important to have them at the center of the implementation of the commitment to ensure the accelerated realization and the promise of the ICPD Program of Action. From commitment to action. It's more than 1 year since the dissemination of the action plan for the implementation of the commitment. You may ask yourself, what is the current role of stakeholders and young people in the process of implementation? Stakeholders, including young people from youth-led organizations and youth-led networks, are key role players in the implementation process. And this is why this year, the African Youth and Adolescent Network on Population Development, Africa and Rwanda, decided to host the National Stakeholders Reflection Meeting on the implementation process of the commitment in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the UNFPA Rwanda.
If we don't invest in our young people, then instead of them becoming an asset, they become a liability. And by being a liability, the progress that we've made so far could be one that could be a challenge for us. Rwanda is on the right path, and I'm proud as an African to be in Rwanda, because you are making it and we need to keep the momentum.
The meeting intended to do the self-evaluation on the progress made since the dissemination of the action plan and shaping the next steps towards achieving the Rwanda commitments with a focus on the meaningful and inclusive youth participation towards achieving the universal access to sexual and reproductive health and rights by 2030. As part of the key resolution of this meeting, it is very encouraging to see how the country recognizes the role of young people in achieving these commitments, and will continue to support the meaningful and inclusive youth participation in the process. The government of Rwanda will continue to scale up the implementation of the comprehensive sexuality education for in and out of schools, girls and boys. The Ministry of Education committed to keep educating young girls on sexual and related areas around pregnancy and sexual transmitted disease, since they also have an impact on the reduction of the teen pregnancies.
One of the areas of focus is teenage pregnancies. And those teenagers fall under my portfolio as Minister of Education. So the majority of them are at school, and I believe the education sector plays a big role to answer to that area of focus. One, by education, because if they are well educated around sexual health and of course prevent the pregnancies at early age, I believe if they are well educated, they will also educate their families, and all other areas of focus will be also responded to.
The meeting recommended the following: adopting a comprehensive human reproductive law that leaves no one behind, accountability of all stakeholders involved in the implementation process, the meaningful and inclusive youth participation in decision-making processes and policy-making, designing a more programmatic approaches to ensure responding to the issues that affect the targeted population, call the youth to own and engage in sexual reproductive health services, especially family planning, as for their own benefit, to build the capacity of youth-led organizations to be able to support the progress for youth.
It is very encouraging that Rwanda is recognized among countries that spearhead programs of achieving a number of targets, including advancing women's rights, access to family planning services. However, we still have a long way to go. Universal access to sexual and reproductive health and right for all is being changed today as never before. The progress of family planning uptake has slowly increased since 2010 to 2020, and nearly 15% of women in Rwanda still have an unmet need of family planning.
The ICPD agenda means a lot for young people. Inspired by the leadership of the government of Rwanda, as young people, our commitment is to ensure proper accountability in the implementation process to ensure the accelerated realization of the commitment made by the government of Rwanda. We aim to be at the forefront of the implementation process for a country where we live a quality life with dignity, capacity, and opportunity to realize our full potential.